Alpha Day, it's your innovation coach, Rob Jackson, and welcome to another edition of the Innovate Guam podcast. Podcast where we look at all things innovation, technology, and improvement related to the island of Guam. Like, subscribe, and follow me on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, IG, and now Substack. My podcast drop the beginning of each week, and also look for my Innovate column in the Pacific Daily News the first and third Fridays of every month. All right, my guest for today's podcast is an entrepreneur in Guam's education sector, known for empowering and inspiring young people and creating innovative learning experiences. He has a Master's of Arts degree in International Relations from King's College in London and a BA from the University of Guam in Political Science. He's an adjunct professor in political science at the University of Guam. He has been a social studies instructor at two different charter schools on the island and is now currently principal of the Business and Technology Academy Charter School in Barrigada, Guam. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Dylan Sablan. Dylan, how are you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're really excited to have you here today. Again, to my audience, Dylan hosted me for an outstanding tour of his school and his facilities, and really excited to get him here. So we start off the podcast with a couple of icebreaker questions. The first one we have is, what is innovation, and what does innovation mean to you?
Oh man, that's so many different kinds of answers I could give to that, but it's really just doing, at least for me and what we're trying to do here, it's doing something groundbreaking, doing something that's not being done anywhere else. I mean, maybe it's being done somewhere else in the world, but if it's not being done here on Guam and we're making it happen, that to me is innovation as well. So really just trying to push the boundaries of different fields and areas and do things that are groundbreaking. That's how I would, just off the top of my head, think of the word innovation.
I like it. So tell me, how do you think youth education and innovation are related?
Oh, I don't see how they can't be related in much of what we are doing in terms of education in the 21st century. There's a lot of schools that I'm sorry to say that they still have a very outdated model. But man, I think not just charter schools, but private schools, they've been changing the way that they've been doing things as well. And I think the Guam Department of Education needs to really reconsider a lot of what they've been doing because education breeds innovation, especially. You come and you've seen, what our kids are doing, and people have been looking at what we've been doing in the news on our social media. Give me another school on Guam that has a real aviation program to solve an aviation industry need here on island, or the extent to which we're offering marketing classes and putting students in internships off campus. I mean, these things, they're developing skills, but they're also encouraging innovation for these kids to actually come up with the solutions that our island needs. And I think um, our education institutions here on Guam could all really benefit from focusing more on that sort of aspect.
Yeah, outstanding. And I love that quote. Education breeds innovation. I really like that. I'm gonna have to give you some publishing for that one because I'm gonna steal it. So tell me in your opinion, what does the 21st century workforce look like in Guam, and how is BTAC aligning itself with that vision?
Well, the workforce, there's a lot of things that are lacking, right? And it's not that, we don't have people capable of doing it, but, for many reasons, I don't think a lot of people are getting the proper guidance to smoothly transition into a certain career area. Um, there's a lot of I can really go off on this topic, but like the point of BTAX, right? We're trying to flip education on its head, and we're trying to solve local needs here on island. I mean, that's our
Mhm.
tagline: rooted for culture, ready for the world. We want these kids to stay here and to use their skills here, but these skills could be valuable anywhere else in the world. Um, so the workforce, I mean, even when you look at seniors graduating from high school, and 70–80% of them aren't graduating really at the level that they should be at. I mean, a lot of these students are 2 to 3 grade levels behind in terms of reading and math. And, that's what we're pushing into college, and that's what we're pushing into the workforce. And so we're trying to make sure that these kids here at BTAX graduate with the reading, writing, math levels that they should be graduating at. And we think that that could actually be a huge step for potential employers when they see, oh, these kids are where they're supposed to be. And it might, make them very unique in terms of the job pool. But like I said, we're trying to solve, there's a lot of industries here on Guam that could use a little bit more talent and labor, and that's what we're trying to encourage here. Take these kids' passions and make sure they're given the proper guidance to be really, really ready and prepared for what's to come after high school.
Absolutely. And this is all good stuff. Now, the underlining theme of the podcast remains that there's this vision out there of a 21st century tech and innovation hub, and Guam could be that. And how do we get from where we are today to that vision of a 21st century tech and innovation hub? So, talking with leaders in academia and education, industry, as well as the government and military, help facilitate a conversation to get us to where we're trying to go. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to talk to you. So tell me more about BTAC. Who founded the charter school? Why was it founded? And what was the mission and purpose of the charter school?
So this was really the brainchild of the chairman of our board of trustees, Mr. Baltazar Atelig. He's a very successful businessman here on Guam, and he has his hands in a lot of different industries, particularly the aviation industry. And so he had this idea. I've said it before, and the first time I heard about BTAX, I was working at another charter school, and I heard them at a charter council meeting say what their mission was, and it was to turn education on its head and to actually do things that are different and are valuable to the 21st century workforce and valuable to what the island needs here locally. And so that was really the mission and the vision. And it's going to evolve as the years go by, and we see what needs to, be filled and what areas are lacking. But yeah, this was probably I want to say a year and a half ago is when BTAX really started to pop into the ideas of its founders who are sitting on the board as well. And it got chartered last May, actually. This is our charter anniversary this month, which I completely forgot. But yeah, so we opened in September, and it's been just a wonderful ride. I was installed as the principal back in December, so I started here as a teacher. And everything that we've been doing, I mean, I think we're in the news almost every week because we're doing something different. We're announcing all these partnerships. And so that's really, if I can, because I've said this before in another interview, if we're trying to prepare kids for college and we're trying to prepare kids for careers, they actually need to know what it's like to be in those environments. And so if you come to our camp, hey, you've been to our campus, but anybody else wants to come to our campus, the feeling isn't that of a traditional high school. And on most days, you kind of get the sense that there's some sort of leniency and you give the kids some sort of independence because that's what it's like in college. Now, that has to happen within certain parameters, of course, because these are young adults, but you go into our classroom, you sit into our class, these guys are doing college level work. They are getting college level instruction. I taught international affairs in September to November. And I'm telling you, man, these kids, they were giving discussions and papers and reports that I didn't even see from myself when I was a 2-year political science major at the University of Guam. But now that I was equipped to, with the knowledge and I had the experience, I was like, I want to give you guys what an actual social science class in college. I want you to see how it's actually going to be. So that was the whole
Wow.
point. So that's what we do in every single one of our classes. And then, of course, how do you prepare them for careers? Well, it's not something you can just learn in a book or in the abstract. We're going to push you out into these professional settings. So we've been
Yes.
partnered with Title Guarantee. We've been partnered with Guam Autospot, Cars Plus. We have a partnership in development with Docomo Pacific. Um,
Mm.
we have a bunch of marketing agencies and tech companies that we've partnered with as well, and we're going to expand those opportunities to come the next academic year because we're expecting an over 160% increase in our enrollment. And so, um, really, yeah, that's I can keep going off.
That's no,
Yeah,
that's outstanding. First, let me tell you, congratulations on your recent accreditation achievement.
thank
That's
you.
really huge, particularly huge that you achieved that accreditation in less than a year. It usually takes much longer than that. So you guys are definitely on your way. Can you share with me your vision for BTAC over the next 5 to 10 years? What are you looking at down the horizon?
To sum it up, really, and this is shared by the board, this is shared by every single person who works here. We want to be the best high school, one of the best high schools in the Asia Pacific region. And so
Mm,
we are actually expecting to welcome a lot of students from Taiwan, from Korea, and from Japan to start coming here in
wow.
the next academic year. I think we might have over 20 already set to come. And it offers meaningful opportunities for cultural exchanges and from learning, more about, what sort of industries are in your country and how have you guys solved it. But that's really to sum it up. We want to be the premier secondary institution. And how we're going to do that is by refining what we already have and constantly expanding the opportunities that we have for our students. So the career clusters that we currently have right now, it's engineering, it's information technology, marketing, and aviation. Now, those are the four most popular ones because we do have accounting and financial management, but they're not as popular with the students. And we've polled the students and we see the interest from those coming from 8th grade. We are
Mm,
already expanded to culinary arts, hospitality, and tourism studies. Especially, Guam needs more individuals well versed in the tourist realm too. And we're also looking at the medical field as well. So those are the two areas in where we are expanding for the next academic year. So in sum, really becoming the best institution here in the Marianas and constantly expanding the opportunities that we offer.
yeah, thank you for sharing those four different focus areas of the school. I was definitely going to hit upon that, and um, that was a great breakdown. Can you tell me a little bit more about BTAC's Friday internship experiences? You hit upon it a little bit earlier about getting them out and the partnerships with different um, companies, but talk to me a little bit more about what that looks like.
So every Friday, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, they don't exist on campus. They are out either at Asia Pacific Airlines or they are at Title Guarantee or they are at Cars Plus. They don't have to come and check in with the school. We coordinate directly with the company to make sure that the kids are there, that they're on time, and we have all the liability forms. And so, of course, depending on what company you're with and what industry you're focusing on, some of these kids were doing drone shots, I believe, for IP&E with the executive director of Junior Achievement, Joshua Miller. Some of them are doing escrow documents and deeds with
Wow.
Title Guarantee. Others are filming marketing videos for Cars Plus. At
Wow.
Tech Evo, our students are actually building PC computers. And
Mm,
so and now we've actually expanded our partnership with a company called Radical PC. This was just last week, one of our students' first day. And he was doing all kinds of things with these wires and all this tech stuff that I can't even define myself. But he had such a great time. And so on the for the freshmen, they are here on campus and they're not taking classes. They are engaging in guest speaker presentations or workshops. So we've had people like Frank the Crank Camacho come recently. We've had Docomo
yeah.
Pacific come do a resume building and interview interactive workshop. And so really the whole lineup of the day is just, important members of the community coming in and either talking about a certain career or talking about certain skills that are needed in the professional setting. So, I mean, they have gone to the University of Guam for like 3 Fridays a couple months ago, and they were doing a whole entrepreneurial workshop, and they were creating business plans.
Outstanding.
They were really good, actually. They impressed the mentors and the professors there. One of them was actually I think the winning one was an aquaponics system that could help alleviate some of the food security concerns here on island. And honestly, it looked like a business that somebody could invest in. They did all the research, they did all the data analysis and everything, and they designed their company, and it was just impressive. And so that's what we do on Fridays. We're not in because Monday to Thursday, you're only taking 3 classes for about 2 hours. So that's where you're taking your core and elective classes. So that's how our Fridays look here.
Outstanding. So, are there any like industry certifications that BTAC students can graduate with and go immediately off to higher education or right into the workforce with?
It's a great you mentioned that because I was actually just speaking with Charlie Hermosa yesterday about because we actually are expanding the aviation part of our program to include aerial drones. And so one of our teachers is already has a certain certification of that. And so right now we're going to start the process of getting our kids in a proper aerial drone curriculum that actually does lead to a certification by the time that they're 16, 17. So even before they graduate, they could get this certification and potentially get hired at a company that uses those drone services. And the same is true for what we're doing in the IT department. I had a conversation with a few people last night, and what we don't want, right, is we do these things in high school and then it stops and they don't
Mm,
use it after. And one way that we can prevent that from happening is the certification. So we're actively looking at those for the juniors and seniors for the next academic year. Whether if it's in IT, it could be cybersecurity, it could be in software development, all sorts of things. And with marketing and engineering, those things are a little bit more difficult with regards to certifications that are meaningful, but at least these kids are getting the experience. And then of course, the aviation one is the big one. That is where we're fine tuning a process to ensure that our kids have a pathway to actually get their private pilot's license. And the other thing is the aircraft mechanic part. I was speaking with our board chair, but we want to make sure that these kids are supported and they could start working at a certain airline in the aircraft mechanic part, and that will count towards when they actually have to take the test to get certified. So those are the sort of certification pathways that people can expect here at BTAS.
yeah, that's outstanding. So, can you tell me about any efforts that BTAC is doing to ensure access for like underserved or underprivileged students?
So as a charter school, we cannot deny anybody. Anybody who wants to come and enroll from grade 9 to 12, we have to take them. And honestly, I don't have a problem with that. We're not the type of school here in where we look at a student who we know has a history of being problematic. Um, we have something called a success navigation program. And so we don't just suspend you or expel you. We are actually committed to the whole well-being beyond a student's academics, because these students could one day, I mean, we don't want to see them in the news for the wrong reasons. We want to make sure that they feel supported. And so that's really through our guidance counselor and through, I will say this, when we are hiring teachers and even admin staff, of course, education and experience are important, but it's also what sort of attitude you are going to bring to the school when it comes to supporting the students. That is honestly the deal breaker for me. Because if you
Yeah.
don't come, I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because a lot of teachers, a lot of people, they have this mindset of 8 to 3, don't bother me after 3 o'clock. I'm not a teacher anymore. No, no, no. That's not the kind of teachers we have here. If you need our
Yes.
assistance after school hours, we will be there for you. We will always guide you. And so that's the kind of community that we have created here from the top down is that we, being a teacher, being a principal, I mean, I'm working till 2 in the morning every night, really. It doesn't stop once the clock hits 5 o'clock. And so that's sort of the ways that we are treating not just underserved students who, a lot of these underserved kids, they have trauma that many of us are fortunate enough to not really understand. And it's about understanding that their behavior is a reflection of that trauma that occurs outside in their life. That's where we sit down and we become more um, empathetic to their
Yes.
backgrounds. And really, it's just about being understanding and not giving up on any student. And that's what we do. I think every student will say that that's absolutely true here.
Yes. Are there any major upgrades or expansions planned for BTAC's campus, labs, or even learning technologies?
Oh, some big expansion plans in the works. I think we spoke about it, and one of them is the flight simulators that are set to come in by next school year. Um, these are not just computer-based flight simulators that I can do here at my desk. These are the modular ones, and where you go in and you're experiencing the whole thing. If there's
It's
extreme
truly
turbulence,
4D, full motion,
yes,
um,
absolutely.
certified flight simulators.
Yes, and the ones that count, if you do 10 hours on them, then they're recognized by the FAA
Yes,
to your flight hours. So we have those coming in, and we'll have the instructors set to assist the students for that as well. Just more operationally, you've visited the campus and you've seen that there's no single desk at BTAX, right? Every student is sitting at a table in where there's other students. The student doesn't have a desk of their own. And so
yes,
we've actually put in the order and we're upgrading all of our furniture and our lab equipment. It's going to look like a 21st century college campus here at BTAX come August. And so it's really not, it's going to be like no other school on Guam is doing. And
that's
so we're
exciting.
very excited for it. Because, the furniture, honestly, it adds to the vibe and the attitude that we come in with. So if
Yes,
not looking nice, then we're putting ourselves back a little bit.
yeah, yeah, that's really exciting. So tell me about some of the recent accomplishments that you're most proud of at BTAC.
Oh, one of them, of course, was the accreditation. For
Yeah,
any educator who has been a part of the accreditation process, they know just how much of a headache that could be. And this was crucially important because we enrolled seniors this year, which wasn't really supposed to be a part of the plan. That was a decision made before me, and that's fine. But we really had to adapt because back in December, one of the parents emailed us saying, "Hey, the University of Guam is not giving us the best time right now because my daughter is going to a school that's not accredited, and now she
accredited. Yeah,
cannot apply for financial aid. She doesn't qualify for financial aid." And so
right.
you really had to, Mr. Richard Guerrero, our academic director, he took the accreditation lead. He has so much experience working here on Guam and Ateneo University in Manila for over 20 years. And so this was just an effort that all of us played a role in to make sure we had to do this. We had to get this done. We made a promise to the seniors when we became the principal and academic director back in December. And it was such a fulfilling experience for me to write the letter to the parents back in April saying promise kept. So
Yes.
that, of course, was just I had made a lot of prayers during that period leading up to when we finally got the letter from ACS WASP. So that is an accomplishment. And the fact that no other school has been able to do that here on Guam as fast as we've done, it just reaffirms everything that we are doing here and our commitment to our students.
So kudos to you, and you should be really proud of that accomplishment. So, what advice would you have for young students um, on Guam about preparing themselves for not just Guam's changing workforce, but really the global changing workforce?
Sheesh, one advice. It's pretty simple, but I see a lot of it here on Guam. A lot of students are a little afraid and maybe a little too shy to actually take advantage of opportunities that are available to them. And I'm looking at, the listing of summer opportunities that are being announced by all these companies and organizations here on Guam, some of them even paid. I think students just need to break out of their shell a little bit and realize that they are capable and that they don't need to be scared of going into certain environments or getting out of their comfort zone. I really think it
Yes,
starts there. Because
stretch yourself.
I used to be like that when I was in high school. I mean, I wasn't shy, but I was a little, I looked at things that I could have taken advantage of, and I was just like, oh, I don't really need it, right? But man, I realized later that that sort of thing could have really benefited me. I'll give you an example. I became a legal assistant once I graduated from college here on Guam, and it was my first job ever. Now, here I am thinking, oh, I just graduated magna cum laude political science from UOG. I know what I'm doing. It took me it didn't take very long for me to realize I don't even know how to format this document on Microsoft Word. So that was a huge um, adjustment for me. I thought I clearly did not prepare myself for the workforce. And that's what I'm trying to tell kids now. Break out of your shell and take advantage of many opportunities and go and network and talk to these people. And all these people coming in on our Fridays guest speaking, talk to them, ask them questions off to the side, leave a good impression on them. Don't be scared, don't be timid to, take advantage of these things because you're setting yourself up nicely for the years to come.
Yeah, that's great advice for young people. So tell me how the wider community can get involved with what's going on with BTAC, whether as supporters or employers or collaborators. How can the wider community get involved?
Well, I hope they see what we're doing and they see that the results are there and they can come and approach us if they want to sponsor any of the things that we're doing or if they want to allow our students to come and intern with them. I mean, I just secured another partnership last night with a pretty big company that I won't announce just yet. They were very impressed. And so it's really, I would just encourage the wider community to visit our website, follow us on our social media, because you will see all of the great things that our kids are doing and all of the things that BTAX as a school has been accomplishing. I mean, we are now just as, in the past couple of weeks, we were on KUAM once again because we announced that we have this MOU with Junior Achievement Guam and we are the only school on Guam officially partnered with Junior Achievement Guam.
Yeah.
And so it's a perfect marriage. So for any, people out in the community who want to come and learn more, I mean, I'll tell you what I told the senators at the budget hearing. I said, feel free to come unannounced. You can come unannounced. We're not going to stage anything from you because everything I'm saying right now is everything that's going on right outside my office. So come and see if this is something that you want to invest in. And for prospective parents, if you are still unsure about BTAX, please come and I'll show you otherwise. Because we have spots that are filling up very, very fast, and we are already approaching our cap for the next academic year. So
Awesome. Awesome. So this is the point in the conversation where I really hand the mic to you and you get a chance to express yourself and tell the people of Guam what you want them to know about the role BTAC plays in preparing young folks for higher education or the workforce.
we are less than a year into our first school year, and we have created an environment, a school community, in where students actually like coming to school because of what they are learning and the skills that they are developing. Where teachers actually enjoy coming to work and working together and collaborating to make sure that these kids are set up for success and have the opportunities. You know, everywhere I go, whether it's on the radio or at the mall, on the microphone, or in the Office of Finance and Budgets office down in Tamuning, I say it everywhere I go that BTAX is already the best high school on Guam, and that we are, you know, our mascot is the bull, and we are charging full steam ahead. So and I'll tell everybody this, what we are doing here might be an adjustment for anybody who comes and sees, right? Because this is unorthodox. This is not being done anywhere on Guam. We tell parents who come here, everything you have ever thought about education, you should throw 90% of it away, out the window when you come to
Mhm.
BTAX, because clearly things haven't been working on Guam for a long time, in where our students are grade levels below where they should be in the most important subjects. They are not, and we know that's a trend in the national average, but we're even lower than the national average. You're not
Mhm.
going to get watered down standards here at BTAX. If you are not caught up, we are going to catch you up.
Mhm.
Because any educational institution should commit themselves to making sure that these kids graduate with the skills and knowledge that they need, because it's not just about getting a diploma. It's not just about the lays that you get at graduation and the memories from the photos. Those things are important, right? But for us, it's not graduation rates that are important. It's, are you guys graduating at the proper levels you should be at? So that is our
Absolutely.
commitment to this community, and you will see within the next few years, everybody will see that BTAX, what we're doing is working and we're solving problems on Guam.
So thank you so much for the awesome insights. This was a great conversation, uh, like I knew it was going to be. I think we are probably going to have an opportunity to have you back because you have a lot of great milestones coming up. So to hear the progress and hear about everything. So, Dylan, do you have any closing words for the audience or for the Innovate Guam podcast?
I would just like to invite you as a guest speaker on our BTAX Fridays to come and speak to our freshmen. If you ever have the time on your end, I know our kids can learn a lot from your experience. So
I'd
please,
love to do that.
well, let's set that up. I'll email you
I'd
right
love
after
to do
this.
that.
Other than that, it's been
Yeah.
a pleasure being here. I'm very grateful that you invited me to talk about our school, and I do look forward to being here again on this podcast. So just Masi.
So yeah, thank you so much. For my audience, I hope you learned something today. I surely did, but more importantly, I think I got inspired and excited about what's going on with the young people here in Guam. Watch for my podcast dropping weekly at the beginning of the week. Follow me on all social media platforms, including now Substack. I'm really trying to get my content in front of as many people as possible because I think that this content can make a difference. So please engage with the content, like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. And please read my Innovate Guam column at guampdn.com the first and third Fridays of each month. I think you'll get a lot out of that. And I look forward to seeing you next time. And remember, no matter whether you're at work, home, or at play, always innovate.